Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a live demonstration of how the relationship Jenga works. So I'm so excited. I appreciate your all of your participation and just watching you all kind of grow through these last few weeks in this short time, just to be able to see how you all are putting all the information together, really working to understand not only yourself but to understand how to increase the connection between you and your partner and to make the relationship meaningful so that it lasts. And we create meaning in the relationship by coming up with those shared qualities that we started to work on over the weekend. And to also be able to focus on yourself in a way that does not compromise the relationship or doesn't or allows you to have understanding over the other person, to be able to allow them to get their needs met and to kind of self-explore, because we're all also on our personal journey to self-actualize and to live life feeling successful, complete, and fulfilled. So that's the point, and there's a way to do that in a relationship without feeling like you have to restrain yourself and you can't fully express yourself because the other partner may feel some type of way or the relationship might suffer. There's a way to have a conjoined effort to not only nurture your relationship but also to nurture your own independent growth. All right, so here we go. So for the beginning structure of the relationship, that's going to focus on the shared meaning. So you have the worksheet that you can use as a template, as a guide to kind of get the conversation going, so that you two can come up with what it really means to what you really want the core of your relationship to mean. So what's that supporting structure that's going to allow you to branch out and still support your independent growth? So what does that look like? So just as an example, just right up, just grabbing from some of your ideas that you all brought up over this past weekend, some of the common factors and common qualities was travel for some of you. So you can choose to build up your structure any way that you want, however you want your foundation to look, but it just needs to be able to support the independence. So let's see. And the goal of the relationship Jenga is not for the structure to fall. So we won't be pulling anything away from the model. We're actually feeding it. We're adding to it. We're trying to build it up, and we're trying to, which is going to represent growth, stability. So we're not taking anything away from the relationship. The goal is to add to your relationship, which symbolizes like nurturing it, so that everybody gets what they need and everybody's all in. It's like all hands on deck to provide stability and support. So the basis, I'm just going to build it up very basically, and then I'll send two pictures of two different ways that your structure can look, starting with the common core. So some of you talked about, you felt like mutual respect was important. So the model will also come with a pen for you to actually physically write on your blocks. So then I'm not going to write on these because this is actually somebody's model. So you can write what's important for our relationship. Also using your, like, I need some more coffee. I'm drawing a total blank. Oh, the love language for your relationship should also be included in here. Include how the relationship values intimacy and sex, finances, family. These are just some broad examples of things to just definitely to include. So you definitely want to really try to include if it's important to your stability, if it's important to your relationship, and you value that as a common connection, that's what you want to add. So those are just examples that I was throwing out there. Finances, because sometimes that can be a source of contention within relationships. Communication, like I said, sex, intimacy, family. So whatever the value systems that you all came up with as you were talking together during your table talk, make that a part of your structure. So for the bottom piece here, green, so let's start with finances. Some people mentioned financial stability being important, so I will write that on the block. You could also include an example of what financial stability really looks like. So that could possibly mean that you're monitoring like spending. So you would write that also on a block. So be as detailed as you possibly can, so you have all these sides that you can write on. So be as detailed, as possible, as you need to be. And then something else that we might do, we might only We may also monitor spending by maybe only going out for a date night and spending over a certain amount of money once a month. That also could be on here. Another value system could be how you value family, your value, how you value spending time. So again, whatever your relationship calls for, write down exactly in detail like what those things mean on the blocks. It could be one word, it could be sentences, however you want to design it to meet your relationship. Feel free. So I said quality time is a value. So trust, it's also something that we have a shared agreement upon. Trust. We may value speaking with intention and integrity. So intention, integrity, mutual respect. So I will write all of those things on here. Commitment to intimacy. What does intimacy look like? You know, does that mean, you know, that we give each other like a couple's massage? Like, what does intimacy look like for the relationship? What does sex look like? So that could be on here. So again, so my structure is up 4 blocks and 3 blocks across. So I may also add conversation, like, you know, we may value as a shared meaning, like how we value raising children. That's is important. Protection. So protection, like stability, feeling like we're honoring each other. We're, you know, not allowing any outside interference. So that could be, because I know sometimes that's big for families. So how we show up for each other is important. And what else is something that support. So I guess, and support is very broad. So this is the initial structure. So this is the core of the why. So I feel like, okay, I feel like the relationship is pretty solid. And I'm actually just like doing this literally as I'm completing this video. So the benefit that you all will have is that you've actually worked through the worksheets and you actually work through conversations about like self-identity and what you feel like your needs and desires are, and kind of talking more authentically about, you know, where you see yourself going, and then talking openly and honestly about the relationship, where it is now, and kind of where you want the relationship to go. So now all of those things are now coming together as you're building up this structure. So use all of your worksheets, use all of the assessments of things about yourself, put it all in. So now we can move into how the why structure now branches off. So let's just talk this through. So for me, I'm a person who I really value, and I know one thing for sure about me is I'm a stickler for, just like, you know, I always say like my peace is non-negotiable. I kind of even saw that on a Facebook memory today where I was talking about that. But peace for me is a real value. So I value quietness. I value time alone. So that's definitely a huge thing for me. Where somebody else may be more spontaneous and enjoy kind of like being out, enjoy like really being connected to people. So they will put theirs like that. Oh, you know what? I'm going to show you all this way towards the actual camera. So that's how that will look. So again, the goal is not for this to fall down. It's for it to remain standing. So your positioning, how you land the blocks on top of the foundation is all very, very, very important. It symbolizes how your relationship is working, how you want it to work in your favor. So it's always an interaction. It's always an exchange between you and your partner. There's always some negotiation of needs and time and how these things get accomplished. Not that you cannot do it, but the negotiation process just means that there's a dialogue back and forth of how can each person be served in the best way. All right, so we got that. So I said, peace is non-negotiable is a big thing. And then the other person's like, oh, you know what? I'm more spontaneous. Because that's also how relationships work. We usually attract our extreme opposites. All right. So then you want to come up with how can you two together then support each other's individual growth process. So how can these two things be supported? So one person is like, okay, I value like peace and quiet. The other person is like, all right, well, I'm more spontaneous. I'm enjoying just kind of like being out and about. So what can the relationship give from both parties that would be able to support each other to sustain the relationship's growth? So that might just be willingness to be open. Just to be open to doing things different sometimes, being open to trying something new, being open to allowing your partner just to have those quiet moments and just to respect, like, okay, this is just a day where, she ain't talking too much, or this is just a day with like, I don't feel like being bothered. So openness. Then now as we're continuing to, because self-evolution is an ongoing thing. So we see how that just fell down. So we want to, we want to make it stable. So how can we stabilize? So next, you might feel like I need to, I'm not liking my job very much. So I want to do something. I need a new career change. That would help that definitely would make me feel more successful. I would feel more like I'm, aligning with my goals or who I want to be. So I feel like I need to really explore jobs or something along those lines. Then the other person, wherever you've come up with your own, as far as like your own personal needs and things that you want to do, that will go on your end. So again, use the assessments that you came up with, and I cannot see this, so I'm actually going to have to do it the other way because I can't see it. So I think that's also has it falling down. Because normally it was not. All right. And then I'll turn it around. Okay. So one person may feel like I need to really just, I'm feeling a little unhappy about work. So I need to focus on work, career, doing something different. Other person may also just be like, okay, I really just want to, relax and, kind of just thinking or leisure time is important to me right now. Other person could also be feeling like family is a big deal, something that they're focused on, so a value system around that. There was mention of emotional safety, so that could be something that could support those two independent ideas. So we can add that as something that's being able to support both of those things. You might want to include your own independent love languages at this point as well. So affirmations. What's another one? Acts of service. So how can those be supported? Respect. For those, I would actually say understanding. Understanding that, the love languages are different. So I will put that in here. I would write on there, understanding, that both of you can give. There was a big discussion. People are in school. So that dissertation process, that studying process might look very different for the other person. So what can both people give to support those individual goals or needs? So space can be given, you know, so each person can get their studying done. Although in the process to that type of studying, it looks very different. Dissertation writing is different from studying for exams, and you know, weekly test taking requires a different process. So space can be provided so that those things, both of those needs can be met. Sleep might be important. Other person may really need some workaround, some sort of emotional regulation. You know, somebody may feel like they have some personal inner work to do. So the other person is definitely not thinking about that. They're thinking, okay, I need sleep, I need some other stuff. And then the other person could be feeling like there's a different need. Again, this is all your independence, things that you came up for, your own personal needs and desires. That's all on here. So how can that be supportive? One person's like, okay, I just need some individual personal work to do. Maybe that requires taking a class, group therapy, individual therapy, something like that. And the other person is like, you know, nope, part of my self-actualization journey involves something totally different. They're just like, okay, no, sleep is important to me. It has nothing to do with what the other person wrote. But so you now are coming up with a common thing that you both can give so that each independent need can be met. You're now still just pouring in. So that may just be support. You might just put support on here. And it fell! So you still will put it, you know, you already have everything written out. And it could just be me like moving fast and knocked it over. But then you just build it back up. So, and I will send the picture because I've done this before the video, and the structure stayed up. So I think it's just me moving fast and then also talking and moving around and hitting the table. So made it fall down. But the intention is not for it to fall down, but I just wanted you, of course, for me to talk it through as I'm building it up so you can see. So I will quickly just put these on here. But you have the gist of what I'm saying. So this is the structure that supports both individuals' need, desire, self-identity, whatever your independent journey is towards maximizing your full potential. What can support that you both are agreeing to pour into the relationship. Remember, we're not taking anything away, we're adding. There can be two things here to give support. Colors of your choice. So this is your own self-actualization process, things that you need to work on, things that you want to do, things that are important to you, things that that you feel as a whole human being, and you know, as a man or a woman, like this is what I feel like I need to do for myself. You know, this makes me feel good. This makes me feel whole and complete. That's these things, kind of like the wings that are out here. And then what can the relationship provide so that both get their needs met and have the support of doing so. Okay. Okay. So here we go. And I'm going to turn it around so you all can just see. How it looks. All right, so you have the supporting foundation at the bottom based on what you come up with as far as like your shared qualities. That's at the bottom. And then you start building out your independent growth needs, like what's going to help you to grow, what's going to help you to feel successful within your own self-right, within your own self-development. What does that look like? What is it? You write it all out on these on each block, and then the structures that support it, that come from both of you. How are you both supporting this? Even if you don't agree, the agreement is not the issue. The agreement is not the issue. You don't have to agree on what the other person is doing, but what can you give to support it that you both can agree on? And then if there's a source of contention that comes up, like somebody might be like, okay, I want to buy a motorcycle, and the other partner might feel like, for me, it's a matter of safety. I'm not too comfortable about that. This would really cause me to worry. And then you would stop. You would kind of, that's when you would just use the opportunity to kind of have a conversation, and using your authentic communication skills for the person to say, hey, I may have a request, or I may have to express a concern. Do you have time to hear it so that I can share what I'm thinking about this, and you can go through how you feel? The other person acknowledges how you feel, can provide empathy, like, hey, you know what, I understand. I can totally understand how that may make you feel. Here's why I may feel like I want to buy a motorcycle, or something I've always wanted to do. I just feel like it's like a thrill, an excitement that I just kind of want to check off the box, or I just feel like I'm in a time in my life where I just want to ride a motorcycle. How about, can we figure out a way that I can buy this bike, or I can wait a little while and see how you feel about it. Maybe we can go look at a few. Maybe we can just go there's one in Philadelphia. We have an actual motorcycle track where people go and before they're taking their test, and they kind of drive around. So maybe you might say, hey, can we go to the motorcycle track? Can we kind of just like look around and see what it's like to be on the bike, and just have a conversation about it. So that's just an example of how to use the authentic communication, and when for something that you don't agree on, and you're feeling like, you're not trying to like use too much persuasion, because sometimes persuasion can create can create a lot of tension as well. Just hearing each other out, just kind of get into the habit of hearing each other out, and making the decision that can reduce stress, or be more in agreement with satisfaction for the relationship, like fulfillment for the relationship. So how does it really align with your core? How does it align with you getting your needs met? How does it align with mutual respect and understanding? Like, how does it all come together? So here we go. So I didn't want to take it too long in the video, but I just wanted you all to see. All right, so I'm going to jump off because, oh my God, I think it's 20 minutes. I think that's a long time. All right. So I'm hoping that you definitely will have it before Sunday, so that you can have it to show to class. All right, bye-bye.